Hey everyone, and welcome back to the On the Map Challenge on Alma, Missouri. Today is October 3rd, and it is a little bit late in the afternoon today, and we're out here wasting no time chiseling up some of our corn ground. This is just after harvest, so we are completely done with harvest. We've got everything in our bins, and now we are slowly working on tillage and spreading some lime, which, as you can see by my tires and the chisel plow, the lime dust is pretty chaotic in the field right now, and we just put some lime out on this particular field. It's kind of hard to see in the corn stubble, but yeah, sure enough, we did put some lime out, and we're actually still working on putting lime out, but we are trying to get these two fields chisel plowed and fitted so we can drill some winter wheat before November rolls around. On top of all that, we also did pick up a new fertilizer and lime spreader. That's obviously how we were able to spread this lime out on the fields. But I say we just get right into this one and knock out some fall tillage. Well, alrighty. Looks like this afternoon we are posted up in the driver's seat of the 8300 doing some much needed chiseling on our corn ground. This morning and all of today has been extremely busy, with harvest just now ending and having to fill the bins and sort equipment and start winter maintenance and all that stuff. We're also trying to get ahead on some fall tillage so that we can put some winter wheat in the ground, and it has just been pure chaos. So for starters, this morning we picked up a lime spreader. I'm going to talk about that for a little bit because that's a little interesting. I don't know if you guys remember, but a little while back we actually were looking for a used fertilizer or lime spreader, and I was just saying, if we don't find one or one doesn't come up in the used market, we'll just end up buying a smaller spreader, and that's exactly what we did. We were looking at one in the used market for a few days. It was a little bigger, but it was really worn out. It had like 30 something hours on it, and it needed a lot of maintenance and stuff, so we just decided not to go with that one, and we instead bought a smaller one that actually cost us a little bit more in the long run, but it's nice. It's a really nice spreader. I'll get to the money situation in just a second because we're missing a chunk out of our bank account. But anywho, the spreader is not the reason we're missing so much money. Do not worry. But yeah, anyways, we went and picked that spreader up this morning around 9 o'clock. We just bought it and went and picked it up. And then right behind that, we dropped it off at the farm, and we went back to town and we picked up a flatbed trailer. And we brought it to the co-op, and the co-op gave us some lime. We spent about $20,000 on lime, or close to it. We spent a good deal of money on lime. We brought that back to the farm. We came out here and we put some lime on this cornfield and the one through the tree line right here next to me. The reason we did that and just kind of got it out of the way is so we could bring the chisel out here and plow these fields up, because we're going to be putting winter wheat on these fields, so we're not no-tilling, we're just going to plow it up. And we can't plant wheat in November, so we've got to drill it in October, so that's why we're doing this now. But yeah, we got the lime stuff out of the way, and then we decided to buy soil samples for all of our fields so that we could actually see the pH values and everything in precision farming from now on. So that's like a one-time purchase. We just decided to get it out of the way. So we lost about $40,000. I think a good $20,000 of that was from the lime and the spreader and also the trailer. I don't think we actually spent $20,000 on lime, but we spent a good deal of it on that stuff, and then the rest of it came from precision farming and buying the soil samples. So everything was a needed purchase. We need the trailer for hauling stuff around and buying pallets and whatnot, odd jobs like that. And then obviously the soil samples, well, we're going to have to buy them eventually, as well as the spreader and the lime and all that good stuff. So it's not money wasted. It's going to something decent. I mean, we could have bought a horse or a few more tractors, but instead we bought meaningful stuff. So yeah, after that we hopped in the tractor, and we chiseled a field close to the farm that was also corn ground, but we didn't put lime on it first, so we're gonna have to run back over to that one and then finish it out with the field cultivator. But then we just came out here and now we're chiseling this field. So that's as far as we've got, and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so we're really trying to hurry so we can get some of that wheat in the ground. And we're definitely going to have to power through the night because there's no way we can get all this ground ready before it's time to drill. So I don't know, but we're making every second count, and the 8300 is putting in some serious work running this chisel plow at 7 miles an hour. Also, about the 8300, speaking of which, you might notice that we are running GPS on this rig. We're also doing skip rows around the field for chiseling, so it's working a dream in that part as well. But we took a little time out and we installed a Green Star system, I guess that's what it's called, a globe, in the tractor. You can see it above the cab. I mean, that took a good chunk of the morning too, so I'm not the most tech savvy, but that did take a little while to figure that out. So we put a Green Star system in the tractor, and then we also set the GPS up in that field next to the farm. That's something else we did. So yeah, GPS is working. As you can see, we're rolling on with it, just trying to tidy this field up best we can right now. We also threw some extra weight on this chisel plow to keep it in the ground better, because I noticed it was kind of skipping around and stuff, so we put some extra weight on the back and it's seeming to help. So yeah, just a crazy busy morning. I just dropped a bunch of new stuff on you, so hope you can take all that in and remember it. And there's still a lot more to do, so that's what we're going to be covering in this episode, because we are about to go into wintertime, believe it or not. It is almost that time of the year again. Corn sale is right around the corner, and then we're going to have the money back up to where it was, so we didn't lose that much. So now we're going to head back down this way. We're going to get the rows we skipped, and then we'll tidy up the end of the field down here, and then behind us and that side of the field to the left of us if we need to, because it's kind of hard to turn with this chisel plow. You just kind of got to just go straight up and down in lines. If you turn, you'll break a tooth. So, but this is a very slick setup. I absolutely love running a chisel plow, and then this tractor just adds to it. And then before long, whenever we get all of our fields chisel plowed, I think I mentioned this earlier, we're going to run the field cultivator over the plowed ground to smooth it out, because check out that seed bed. It's a little bit hilly and there's a few rocks in there, so we're not going to be able to pick the rocks up this year. Unfortunately, next year we'll probably be a little more prepared, but we are going to run the field cultivator over it just to see if we can even the seed bed out a little bit. But I'm cautious because of the field stone. There's so many rocks everywhere, so I'm not real sure how we're going to combat that, but we're going to figure something out, because unless I'm just really wrong, I don't think you'd want to be drilling wheat into fresh plowed ground like this, but I could be wrong. I think you could plant corn in this because of how it's like hilled like that, but I also could be wrong there too. I'm just kind of thinking of stuff I might know off the top of my head. But either way, we're going to try something just to try something. You know, there's nothing wrong in that, but we're going to bring the cultivator out here, I'm assuming as soon as we're done chiseling, and then we're going to switch over to the drill. So we're going to do a lot of equipment shuffling. I'll show you guys the new stuff at the farm, and then we'll bring the drill and the cultivator and all that good stuff out here. Look at me thinking 2 steps ahead. We're just so busy around here. I'm thinking of everything in the future, planning it all out. And because we still have so many jobs to do, I'll probably keep the mulch chisel hooked up to this tractor. I'm thinking about putting the field cultivator on the, I guess the 4255. That's probably the next biggest tractor we have. The Magnum's hooked up to the lime spreader. So yeah, that's right. Even though it is a 2-wheel drive tractor on a field cultivator, I think this tractor right here might be a little overkill for it, but if we need to, we will put this on the cultivator. But I think it's only a 18-foot cultivator, 20-foot, somewhere in there, so it's not super big, but we are kind of plowing up some thick stuff. I mean, it's a little bit muddy out here. You just can't really tell because the lime dust is coating everything. Alrighty, reach the end one more time. We'll spin around. Looks like we've only got to go up the field 3 more times, and then we'll tidy up the corners and the ends of the fields, and we'll be out of here. Oh, no, we're not. We got to hit that other field, so there's a little more left to do. But something that I am a little happy about is we're not going to be spending as much money on equipment in the future. we're kind of buying all the stuff we like really need to have right now, and then we're just gonna use the same equipment for a few years, and then as we get more land, we'll slowly upgrade. But I'm thinking about jumping into upgrades around end of year 2, so I'm fine with all the equipment we have right now. For the next year, I don't really see a reason in upgrading. Only thing I would kind of like to get, and I think I talked about this already, was a disc harrow, like a bigger set of discs, like maybe a 25 foot, to pull with this tractor, just to kind of like for what we're working with right now, where it's really just the plowed ground is all crazy and not super smooth, and we just run the disc over it to kind of smoothen out the seed bed. So I'd like to have a disc harrow, but some other things I'll mention we need is like sprayer. We've already got the trailer, spreader, just a few things like that. Maybe even a manure spreader eventually when we get calves and when we have cows in the barn and they start making or producing manure, and then we'll have that to spread. So just stuff like that. If we can buy the stuff now that we need to have, like you can't really go a year without putting fertilizer or lime out, so you've got to have that kind of stuff. But if we can get all the stuff we need out of the way, the stuff we have to kind of buy, then that'll give us plenty of money to work with in terms of land, and just, I guess, really only land. We'll have a lot more money to spend on land in year 2 or 3 or whatever. Alrighty, there's that end of the field all cleaned up. Or well, we did miss this spot. Let me back up and get this real fast so we don't have to come all the way back down here. Alright, there we go. Now we'll get back to where we were, turn the GPS back on, and yeah, we're almost done. We're almost out of here. We've got just this to the right that you see over here. There's like one more pass up and then another one down. We've got this side of the field all cleaned up, and then behind me we got that end of the field all finished out, and you can see it looks really good. So we're burying this lime. This tillage is going to do us some good, and I'm just kind of experimenting a little bit with our crop rotations. I would like to put wheat behind corn. I know I said, or at least I think I did, I was going to do corn on corn for 2 years, but these fields were our worst, and I'm assuming it's because the corn just absolutely took every bit of nitrogen out of the soil. So after doing a little research and some common knowledge, I just decided to put wheat here. I was still going to plow it up either way because I feel like these fields have not touched tillage in forever. Whoever owned these fields before I did, I'm pretty sure they only did no-till forever, and I don't know if that's just the way the game is or not, but the yields were awful. They had not been mulched or plowed or anything, so now we're having to plow the fields up. And so hopefully putting some wheat behind the corn will kind of give that nitrogen filling that the soil needs or whatever. So like I said, I'm just trying it, so if I'm all wrong, then I'm wrong, but at least I sound kind of smart saying that. And if I do end up making a mistake and failing by putting wheat behind corn for a crop rotation, well, I learned from my mistake, and we'll do better next year. Because I'm very used to corn, soybeans, and then like corn on corn, and I never really know what to rotate wheat out with, so I think putting it behind corn is probably a good choice. But I think a better choice would have been to talk to an agronomist before I just went ahead and decided to do it. So either way, we're going to see what happens, and hopefully we'll have some crop in this field to harvest next year. Okay, now we've got this little part right here to finish up, and we'll head on to the next field. We just got to make this turn and get this at the field approach, and yeah, we're done with this field. Okay, and just like that, we are all done. We can head to the next field. I think I'm just going to leave GPS on, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have to set it over at the next field. But the next field is just right down the road here, so I think we'll be alright. It's the field right up here by the railroad track, so going to make a left turn right here and we'll be at the field. Oh man, that guy's in a hurry. A lot of very bold drivers in Alma I have noticed recently. I've just been getting past left and right, even if it is a double yellow line. Anyway, here's the next field right here. It's roughly the same size, so it's going to take us about an hour and a half to finish, I think, is how long the last one took. So let's just go ahead and get right to it. Let me find my line. There we go. The GPS did kind of save. Alright, good. Now we can just drop it down and get straight to work. Ooh, I actually kind of would like to hit this field at an angle, which I kind of think that's what the GPS is doing. Let's see where it's going. It's definitely making a turn for me. I didn't think I had auto steer in the cab, but that's pretty sweet. I'd kind of like to go at a more harsh angle. Maybe that's not a good idea, but I think it is. Instead of coming all the way up here. Oh man, we're like for real turning. Yeah, maybe let's not do that. Let's turn GPS off. Let's reset it to be a more aggressive kind of angle. I wonder if there's any way we can get out of making that turn through the field. Okay, there we go. Something like that looks pretty good. Now let's get back on our line and start over. I definitely think this will look a whole lot better in the long run anyway. Just ignore the part where we came through the field right there. We're all good now. We are all ready to rock and roll. And something I would kind of like to try this spring. I don't know how well it's going to work, and I'm probably not the brightest for wanting to do this, but I'd kind of like to drill soybeans in the springtime. If we ever find somebody to hire on the farm in the spring where we can have two people working at the same time, it would not be a bad idea to have somebody planting corn and then somebody also drilling beans. Now, that's just one advantage we could have drilling beans. I want to say that drill probably holds more seed, maybe. I don't know for sure. That's probably not right, but the only really disadvantage is that it's going to be on 15-inch rows, so that's kind of the only thing stopping me. Or it's actually probably even tighter than that, so I don't know. We'll probably just end up planting soybeans with the planter. That's more than likely what we'll do, but if there's a way I could ever get the drill set up with beans, I think that would be pretty slick just to give it a try, at least one time. Alrighty, there's our first pass down the field. We're finishing our second. Gonna raise it up in just 1 second here. Alright, there we go. GPS is absolutely doing us wonders here. I'll just set it back down and go back to work. Oh yeah, this is awesome. This entire time on the farm I've been used to nothing but using your eyeballs, but all I got to do is tell this computer where to go and it does it for me. This is pretty slick. And then this spring we'll be able to use these two monitors, but for now we're working on that one. So check this out. I can even turn my seat a little bit to have a better view of everything going on. So we've kind of got it going on in the cab right now. We've got a very what's the word? I've got a very extreme cultivating setup. I feel like a king sitting on a throne in the cab right now. I feel like I've got everything. The air conditioning's working. All I gotta do is just turn the thing around whenever I get to the end of the field and hope I don't run into a tree like right now. Alright, we'll pick it up and turn back around. There we go. But yeah, you guys, I'm gonna knock this tillage out, this chiseling. We've got a little ways to go, so hopefully I can get it done here shortly. But I will catch back up with you when we start drilling. We gotta load the planter, or the drill, sorry. We gotta put some seeds in there. And yeah, I guess that's our next task at hand, so I will catch up with you guys then. Alright, so we're now done chisel plowing. We brought the tractor back to the house, and we are wasting no time getting the drill filled up because we are about to head out and drill some wheat right now. We got the skid steer out and we're about to load a pallet of seed in the drill. I do have to get in here and start it. We only have 2 pallets of wheat seed, so hopefully this is going to be enough, and we have no solid fertilizer. We don't really have any time to buy any, so we're just having to work with what we've got. But yeah, we got both of those fields chisel plowed. It's almost 5:15 in the afternoon. Sun's starting to set, so we're trying to get a move on. We're not even going to run the field cultivator over the chisel plow ground. We are just going to drill straight into it and hope it actually works. Next year we're going to hopefully be a little more prepared and drill earlier into the fall, like around 1st of October, because this year was really rushed, so we need to prepare ahead next year. Maybe even plant a little earlier in the year. That could help us out, save time. But we are trying to get this stuff to the field as fast as we can. And so here's the last pallet. Let's hope this gets it to at least 80%. Which actually, this might fill it all the way up, and we might still have a few bags on there. Yep, there we go. Alright, the drill is full of wheat. We got 3 more bags on there, so I'll just set this down over here. Or I'll put it back in the shop for now. And before I drive off to the field, let's take a look at the farm real fast, the stuff we've got sitting out everywhere. I'm sure you guys have already seen it. And then we'll shut the shop back up. But so yeah, where where do we start? Let's start over here at the lime spreader. It's hooked up to the Magnum. We're going to finish out lime spreading tomorrow. Obviously, we have some more to do, but here's the bags of lime we bought. This is extra. We had it all the way past the diesel tank over here. We had a bunch of bags, and we filled the spreader back up one more time, so it's ready to rock and roll tomorrow. It's just going to sit here overnight, but yeah, here is the new spreader. It's a very good looking piece. I absolutely love it. Think it fits in the farm awesome. And then over here to my right, you guys have probably already seen it when I was talking earlier, but here is the flatbed trailer for this the pickup truck. It's not a gooseneck. It's definitely not a low boy like a semi trailer, but it is a very slick trailer. We've got this nice hitch on the back of the truck for it, so maybe one day we'll get like a 20-foot gooseneck, but for now this was pretty cheap, and it's about the size we want for hauling little things like the skid steer and pallets of seed and stuff like that. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go and hop in the tractor and let's get this stuff drilled. I think it's about time I turn some lights on. Sun's starting to set pretty quick here. The days are getting shorter the longer we last through the year, so we're having to rush, and the daytime gets burned up quicker. So, but I'll feel pretty good whenever we get this stuff in the ground to have some wheat drilled. We could always just wait and drill it in the springtime, but I think winter wheat does better for us anyway. So, well, I actually don't know yet. We're going to try it out and see, and if it doesn't do the way I want it to, then we can try putting some spring wheat in next year. But for now, we're going to try drilling in the fall time and see exactly what it does for us. We're going to start down here at the field next to the car wash, and then we'll work our way back up to the field closer to the grain elevator and the railroad tracks. I'm really hoping we have enough seed for these two fields. I'm pretty sure we will, but you know, I feel like we run out of seed pretty quick. Maybe that's all in the planter. I think this drill holds seed pretty decent. But alright, let's turn the lights up so we can see a little better. Let's drop our row marker down as well as the drill, and let's get after it. I think the only reason I did not run over the field with the cultivator is because of the rocks. I'm just going to risk it with the drill. I think the drill will be okay. I mean, we've got some row cleaners on there to kind of help it a tiny bit, but I know it can only do so much. So the only problem is if we run over some rocks with the drill, it's going to be more expensive to replace. So I'm hoping we don't have any breakdowns. That would be terrible, especially with the current drilling situation with how tight our schedule is. So just really hoping we can get this in here error-free, and so far so good. Everything seems to be in working order. I feel like it's going to be a pretty long night. I'm not really sure when I'll be done drilling, so in it for the long run tonight, I suppose. I just hope this stuff does take and actually grows pretty decent considering how late we are drilling it in the year. That's my biggest concern, is not being able to have a good stand. It is really starting to get dark out here now, so as soon as that sun kind of slips beyond the horizon, it really does get dark quick. So probably gonna have to just finish this up off camera real soon here, but I don't think we're drilling too much. The seed rate seems pretty decent, so that's good. Just checking everything, making sure we're doing everything right here, and I guess we can just kind of sit back and drill some wheat. But anyways, you guys, I'm gonna knock these fields out. Shouldn't take too awfully long, but this is a smaller drill. It's not the biggest in the world, but these fields aren't big either, so we should be out of here in no time. But I'm going to finish up real fast, and then I will catch up with you guys tomorrow morning, and I guess we'll get right into some lime spreading and some more tillage. Well, it is now the next morning, and we've got a lot of stuff to do today as well. We got finished drilling last night kind of late. I think it was around 9-10 o'clock at night, and then we came back to the farm and put the drill up, and we actually left everything sitting outside, which was probably not the best idea, but it's still here in the morning, so that's a good thing. But before we start doing any actual field work, we're going to give the cows a roll of hay real quick. I really could wait a few more weeks, but I think it's probably a good time right now to give them some. But we're only putting out one roll right now. We might have to feed them again this afternoon. I'm thinking 2 bales a day will probably get them up to their like what they need, their food. It'll reach its maximum capacity if we give them 2 a day. But I think one in the morning will be fine, and then if they're needing some in the afternoon, one in the afternoon will cover the rest of it. But we're going to drop one in there right now. They do have a good bit of pasture to eat on, but I feel like as we get farther into November, it's going to start going away. This one right here is trying to get out of the pasture, or maybe he's just excited that we got a fresh roll of hay going to the hay ring. But today's agenda, we are probably going to just jump straight into spreading the rest of the lime so we can get that off of our plate, because I know that's something I would like to just go ahead and get finished. And then I guess we're going to finish up chiseling as well, and then jump straight into field cultivating. And then, unless something else comes up, I think that's all the tillage and field work we're going to have to do in year one, and then we'll be good for the rest of the year, and we can wait on winter to roll around. At least I think, anyway. We're going to have to wait and see. Don't really want to speak too soon. We also got to find that trailer a home somewhere on the farm. I have no clue where to put it at, so we're going to do that real fast. But let's stick the Ford back in here. And before I get into something else, let's look around at the forecasts and stuff. First things first, I want to check on the wheat here. So it is growing. It's stage 2, so it's actually coming out of the ground already. Now we need to jump over to precision farming, and we need to look at pH. So I've put lime on field 27, 26, 33, and 41. So these two are our hay fields down here, and then these are our corn fields. Now, we went ahead and we chiseled this field up, so this field needs lime, and then we're going to finish out with the field cultivator. This is our field of wheat that we combined last summer, so this field needs lime, and so does 28, our soybean field. Then we're going to chisel this field, and we already hit this field with a chisel plow, so unless these fields just need plowing, which I don't think they do. Yeah, okay, none of these fields need plowing, so the ones that do need plowing, we kind of went ahead and did it already, so we're just going to hit these fields with a field cultivator then. So yeah, we're done chiseling. Okay, so we can just put that up right now then. That's a burden lifted off of my shoulders. Okay, so let's do a little yard shuffling before we get out in the field. First things first, let's put this trailer up. I've actually got a spot that I just thought about. We can set this. I just hope it's going to be narrow enough. Looks like we're also about to have to run to town and get some more diesel for the truck. It is getting pretty low. We've still got a quarter of a tank, but we're going to have to do that before long. And I'm thinking we can just set this trailer right in here. Oh boy, is that big enough? I sure hope so. Just trying to keep it pretty even in here all the way to the back. And something about like that. I think that'll do it. And eventually I would like to get in here and pull this sprayer trailer out, the tender trailer, and get this pallet or this tank of liquid fertilizer out of here, because it's definitely been sitting back here for a while. So yeah, I'll do that later on. I'd just like to do it at some point. Just thought I'd mention that. Okay, let's go park the truck, I guess just somewhere over here, kind of out of the way. By out of the way, let's just park it right about here. And now let's get the chisel plow back to its designated spot, and we'll open the barn doors and we'll just set the 8300 in here. And the longer I'm out here walking around, it is a little bit chilly this morning. It's 53 degrees, so it could be warmer, but it's not freezing cold out here. And the forecast says rain tomorrow, so these temperatures are going to slowly start dropping like crazy. And it's going to be bitter cold here really soon. And I think every single day in December they're calling for snow. So, ooh, it's looking like a cold, wet winter. Hopefully not. I'd like it to be decently dry with some freezing rain, not as much snow, but I know we're going to get a lot of snow. It's Missouri after all, so we're still looking for a snowblower, let me tell you that. I am dreading this winter, but hopefully it won't be too bad. Oh, and I think I need to actually pull that 4250 out and back the drill in, just because we're not going to be using it till springtime. We just pulled it in here last night, so I do need to flip this around. And we also did not use all of our seeds, so I might unload it out of the drill and just put it with the other pallet in the shop, but I'm also probably just going to keep it in here if we ever decide to drill some spring wheat, because if we end up buying a lot of fields and we've got a bunch of fields of corn and soybeans and we want to put winter wheat on one, or sorry, spring wheat, we can definitely do that. So I will actually just leave it in here for now. Something else I am kind of noticing is we're going to have to invest in a pressure washer soon. Everything's so dirty. I kind of would have liked to have one like recently so we could clean all of our implements off for wintertime, but I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I could spend a little extra money and go pick one up right now, but it just feels kind of embarrassing to throw all this equipment in the shed for winter being all dirty. But I think it'll be okay. For now anyways. Just means I'm going to have to sweep a lot of dirt up off the concrete. Okay, now we'll just put this over here in the corner behind the combine. Trying to fit everything kind of snug in here because I would like to pull the grain truck and the Ford tractor in here over the winter so that it can start easy, because it's just out and I feel like it's going to be really cold, and with this being the first year on the farm, I feel like we're going to have starter problems and stuff. I don't know that for a fact, but I just feel like if it ever does get really harsh cold, I'd like to have some of the equipment inside so it can start a little easier and warm up. But maybe it's not that big of a deal. I'll wait till it actually rolls around and see how cold it actually gets, because if it's like -20, then yeah, we're gonna be pulling it in here. But if it's like 9-10 degrees outside, then I'll consider leaving it out. But who am I kidding? That's all the equipment shuffling for now. Let's close the shed up. And then let's hit the field. Thinking we'd drive all the way down to field 28 and knock that out first, because that's the farthest, and then we'll slowly work our way back towards the farm. So that'll be what we do. Let's go ahead and drive out that way. But you know what? This field right here on the left, our wheat field, I'm pretty sure it's got a lot of weeds in it, so maybe I do want to consider just plowing it up and kind of burying those weeds. I feel like if we just run the field cultivator over it, it'll just kind of be a temporary fix, and they'll come back even harder in the springtime, and that's going to be a lot more money spent on herbicide, I mean, even for one field. But I'm not sure if that actually works in the game, so I'll just run over it with the field cultivator, and we'll see what happens. And then next year, if the weeds are bad in the spring, then we'll plow all the fields up. But I just put the plow and the tractor up, or the chisel and everything up, so I don't want to break it back out. But I'm starting to think, you know what, this Magnum is actually a little bit bigger of a tractor than I keep reminding myself. I mean, this thing's got like 180 horsepower. Starting to kind of feel like we need to throw the duals on this bad boy and use it for some tillage in the fall, and then we can take the duals back off whenever we use it for hay. But this tractor's got a lot of horsepower under the hood. A lot more than I thought it did. So maybe we're going to use it for some tillage. I don't know. I have to see. I don't even know if we've still got the duals laying around the farm, but that'd be pretty slick to have. Alrighty. Got GPS set up already. Let's just go ahead and get right to work. I guess we'll probably hit our headlands first. Cover a tiny bit more ground. And it seems like we are putting out a good bit of lime. It feels like this field needs more than some of our other ones. But that pH in the bottom left corner is looking really, really good. And I'm almost tempted to actually call up the co-op and see if they could bring lime out here like next year, because we've already bought all of our lime, and I guess they deliver to you, and they can even spread for you. So like they could spread your fields for you. I don't know if they offer that in Alma because the co-op's a lot smaller, but they do have some spreaders you can rent out and some anhydrous and stuff. So I don't know. We'll have to see about that. That's pretty neat. I feel like it'd be a little more expensive that way, but we did spend a fortune on lime this year, so. And at this rate, we might not even make it one entire pass around the field with how much lime we're spreading out. Looks like this field really needs it. Oh, except for down here in this bottom part, looks like the soils are a lot different. You got some loamy sand, and this requires less lime, so that's good. Maybe that'll save us some trips back and forth to the farm. Check this out. We got the Trimble running in here. It's working on the spreader. I mean, this is a sight to see, really. Just can't get over this new spreader. It is pretty slick. I want to say I had the same one in Farming Simulator 22 whenever we did the On the Map challenge, and I do not remember this thing being this awesome. And it covers so much ground. I can't wait to get out in the fields in the springtime whenever we've got some fertilizer in here and we're going to be dry applicating some fertilizer. I think that'll be pretty slick, but for now, it's doing a splendid good job with lime. Let's open the yield map back up and look at what's going on. So I'm seeing that the farther up the field we go, the soil turns loamy and it needs more lime. So that's a little bit interesting. Yeah, we're not even going to make it a full pass around the field. Holy. Well, we did get this far, so now we're going to have to make the trip all the way back to the farm and get some more. I think we're going to have to go a second time out of this field to get lime. We really put the stuff out. So you know what? I think I'm going to do a little time lapse here and finish spreading lime. I'll just go ahead and knock every single field out. I think that's probably a good idea. We've got this one, that field of wheat, and then the field that we already chiseled. So we've got 3 fields, but it shouldn't take us, well, it might take all morning actually. I was going to say it shouldn't take long, but it's probably going to take till around lunchtime, and the sun's going to come out. Soil should dry a little bit because I know we had some heavy dew last night, so I'm sure the soil's a little bit wet. I can kind of see some mud sticking to the tires a little bit. So yeah, we're going to let the soil dry. We'll spread some lime, and then we'll get out there and turn some dirt. So yeah, I'll just catch up with you guys whenever we're done, or if we run out of lime, one of the two. So I'll see you guys then. Well, just like that, all of our lime is spread. We started this field down here that I'm coming up from, and then we actually had to go and buy 6 more bags to finish that field, and it was basically the perfect amount. We got to the end as we ran out, and the entire field is covered. So that's it for lime. I don't really know where to put this, so for now I'm thinking I'm just going to put the entire rig into the shed here, and then I'll figure out a spot for it. But right now it just sitting in here is not hurting anything. It's nice to have a pull-through shed where you can just park something, so that'll sit in here and stay dirty. Very dirty. I'll just leave this shed open for just why not. I feel like that lime dust probably needs to ventilate out of there, or would it? Maybe. But either way, we got to start cultivating, and our cultivator is down here, and I just don't know what tractor to pull it with. It's this one right here, and I'm kind of feeling the 4250. I feel like it'll pull it very well, and it's got a very tight turn radius, so yeah, we'll probably throw the 4250 on it. Completely forgot about using that tractor. I wouldn't have shut the barn up. I would have kept it open, but it's alright, we can pull it back out. So now it's time to get this thing back dirty again. If this cultivator was honestly any bigger, I would for sure be pulling it with the 8300, but it's just a little, I guess that's an 18 foot actually, the more I look at it, because it's not as big as our corn head, and our corn head's 20 foot. So either way, we'll hook up. And I think it's been unfolded for the longest time. Oh no, it's folding up. Okay, I was worried the hydraulics were a little busted up, but no, it's still kicking. So wow, they left it unfolded sitting out here by the fence line. I'm pretty sure that's not really good for the hydraulics, but I could be wrong. Either way, oh, this thing is in such good condition. I can't get over it. But yeah, let's go hit the field. I'm thinking we just jump straight to the fields down the dirt road and do like we did when we put the lime out, work our way back towards the farm slowly. I think that's probably the best plan of action, so that's exactly what we'll do. And before I get out of the farm and you guys are not really sure what I'm talking about, I'm kind of thinking about calling somebody and seeing if they can help me clean all that junk up beside the barn over there. All the bales that have been there for a while, and the scrap metal and junk cars and everything. I'm kind of thinking I need to call somebody and ask if they want to sell that stuff off, or I mean, I could sell those bales, but they're not really worth a whole lot. They're kind of junk. That's why I call them junk bales. But I don't know, a farmer somewhere could use them, and I might just give them to them. So they are pretty rough, but I might just give them to somebody. Or I might call somebody up and see if they could help me come clean the area up, but it does need to be cleaned up, and that'll give us a little more open space to store equipment, and we could even cut one of those trees down and make a little driveway through there. And speaking of cutting trees down, I need to go pick up a chainsaw because for some odd reason I still don't have one, and there are a few trees I would like to clean out at that field. You can actually see it right here from the road, the field we just got done spreading lime on. That little line of trees, we cleared it out in 22. I'd like to clear it out again just so I can drive straight through there. I probably will do that off camera, but if I don't, you guys will see what I'm talking about. But either way, I'll show you. It's just a little grove of trees, kind of like this right here, just stick out in the field, and you have to kind of go around it. So I'd like to just clear them out and just be able to drive straight through there. So check me out. I got a little sawing project I want to do, and then we'll even take the logs and stuff to the what's it called, the sawmill, and see if we can't just sell it for a little profit. I mean, there's nothing wrong in that. I think 2 of the trees are oak, and some of them are, I think there's like a poplar tree or something, so maybe that'll bring in a little bit of cash. But let's get this cultivator unfolded, and we'll stir up a little dust and some lime dust as well. Thinking this is going to look a whole lot better after we have cultivated this entire field. It's pulling a few more rocks up, which is, I mean, that's not the best thing ever, but if we can find somebody to pick the rocks for us this year, honestly, that would be pretty slick. We've got all the way up until springtime. I know those 2 fields we drilled in winter wheat we didn't get to pick the rocks out of this year, but we are going to have a rock picker in the future. And the ideal setup would be a rock rake, and then just be able to pick the stones up with the rock picker in a line. But for right now, we'd just have to kind of drive around and pick them up, or somebody else would. And I mean, even like a rock bucket would be pretty slick. And I have been seeing people use those TerraClear buckets or whatever they're called for the skid steer, where they just pick up the rocks at a time, and they use GPS and the skid steer to map their fields out, and it can tell you exactly where the rocks are, and then they just go around and pick up the rocks. So we do have an opportunity to use that as well. So we could do just about whatever we wanted to. And at this point, I would just like to get the rocks up, because the longer we keep them in the field, the bigger a problem they're going to cause. And just check out that seed bed behind me without any noticeably big rocks. I'm sure there's going to be some bigger stones in here, but for right now they're just kind of small. And I'm pretty sure the deeper you plow, the larger the rocks get pulled up. So with us just doing some shallow cultivating, it's not going to hurt anything. But if we keep just chiseling every single year and get into some ripping with some shank rippers, we're going to eventually pull up some pretty decent sized rocks. And I'd like to have a picker just to combat that. You know, it'd help yields out anyway. And I'm also starting to think we need a little bigger cultivator. This is going to take a little while, but at least we're running at 9 miles an hour, and it's really doing a great job for as old as it is. It's an old international cultivator, but it's doing the job. And still no GPS in the 4250, so we're having to once again eyeball it, which is not the worst thing ever. And also, I'm now on the hunt for a side-by-side. I think I had mentioned wanting one in a previous episode, but now I'm actually looking for one. There's a Kubota dealership about 3 hours away from here that has a bunch of UTVs at their lot, which look really nice. There's some 2-seaters, and then there's some 4-seaters, which look really good. Then there's also the John Deere dealer that's about 30 minutes from here. I think it's west of here. They've got some gators, and they look really slick too. So I'd really like I think I mentioned a Kawasaki Mule. I'd really like something like that, more of like a ranch kind of side-by-side rather than just like an all-purpose UTV. I kind of like something that's designed for more farm work, because obviously we're going to use it for toting around pallets and twine and cattle feed and mineral feed and stuff like that. So I am scouting out for a side-by-side, and this coming December we might actually find one, and that'll be my Christmas present. So don't worry, I'm still looking, and I'd really like to find one. I just don't want to spend $15,000 on a brand new Kubota side-by-side, because they're all new. There's no used ones, and you know, I mean, that's all fine and good chipping in that much money for a side-by-side, because then you'd never have to upgrade. But who would want to upgrade a side-by-side? I mean, you get one and then you keep it. And I don't want a ragged out, worn out one. I would like a decent one, and that's really hard to find, and I don't want a new one. So this may take a few years actually. We might just have to carry on pallets and everything by hand, as hard as that is to find. So I guess I can't be too picky. I either spend a bunch of money on a new one, or look forever for one that I want that nobody has. And then maybe even at some point I can bring something and knock this grove out too right here, because I just don't like this either. I just don't like turning around it. I'd rather just go straight. But these are some pretty big trees in here, and I don't want to spend all day sawing them. And I think that's actually some hard wood, so probably just be better to get a bulldozer or a backhoe or something and come and rip them up. But I could use a chainsaw. But wouldn't that just be so much nicer to just drive straight up through there and then come out right here like that? I think it would be. I mean, I know it's not the huge, like, it's not the biggest deal ever, but it definitely, I don't know, it's not as awkward to turn around, and it makes the field even, which I like that. But I also kind of like the grove just a little bit. It keeps the field a little unique, keeps it a little curvy and less boring. And I think it's got something to do with like wind control. There's a little wind break there, so that's pretty neat. But all in all, I would just like to be able to just drive straight down the field. So we might come out here and tear that tree line down too, but I would for sure like to take the other one out of that other field, field 31 or whatever it is. That one really needs to go. And there is one entire pass around the field. Feels like that took forever. Now we're just going to go and start another one, I guess. I think we'll just do 2 headland passes, and then we'll start up and down the field. And man, I've got to get a GPS system in this tractor at some point. Maybe that'll be a project for the spring, because I would like to kind of plant with this tractor. I think this will be a very nice planting tractor. At least while we've got an 8-row, like a smaller planter, because this tractor's got some duals on it. It's got a tighter turning radius. I feel like it'd just be a perfect planter tractor. But if that planter is a little big for this tractor, we've always got the 8300, and it wouldn't even be bad on the Magnum either. So we've got a lot of choices for what to plant with. But I guess it also depends on if something's in the shop or not in the spring. So, but yeah, this will be a nice planter tractor. And I don't think that 8-row Kinsey we've got has row markers, so we're going to have to use GPS, I would think. It's kind of hard to use a planter without row markers unless you're just really good at guessing, but Yeah, we'll probably find another Green Star system. I think the one in the 8300 is only a few $100, so we'll spend a little bit of money and put one in this tractor too. So once again, that'll be another upgrade, another something we buy after winter. So yeah, we're just adding stuff to the list. Seems like I want a little too much. I can't just wait. I'm impatient. But a lot of that stuff is like really, you kind of need it like a good bit. So, and while we're talking about buying stuff and kind of speaking around it, there is an auction, and it's a few states over. I do not remember what state it's in. It could be in Iowa, I think. It's around a lot of dairy farms. They have this auction at the start of every single new year. So it's going to be the whatever the newest year auction. I think it's something like that. And I think it's in the town of like Ashton Corners or something like that. I think that's the name of the city. They have this auction, and I mean that's only about 2.5 hours away from here. And I was kind of thinking about going and seeing if we could get some stuff from that auction, because they usually have so much, and usually there's a lot left over. I watch guys on my phone, they go there and they tour the auction, and they're there video and stuff while it's getting sold, and there's a ton of tractors and tillage equipment and cattle trailers and trucks and spreaders and just everything. And usually it's a nice auction. Like, there's a lot of good stuff. So we'll see if we can go. We might be really busy then, but it's going to be like middle of winter, so we won't have a lot going on. And we might just make the drive out there to just kind of see what's going on. And I don't know, we might end up buying something. So I figured I'd just mention that and not just show up out of the blue in another state buying stuff. It also depends on how much money we've got, because if we're broke in January, I don't think we're going to be buying anything, because I'm thinking in the springtime we're going to have to stock up on, well, obviously seed and fertilizer, because we don't have any of that, probably some herbicide, and definitely some bale twine and net wrap and stuff for our square and round baler, and then obviously planter and our fertilizer spreader and just stuff like that, so we can have it throughout the year and we won't have to keep buying like we did with lime this year. I know about how many bags to get now, so I'm probably going to have to get about 25 or 30 bags next year. I think we bought 20 in total, so it just depends on how many fields we end up buying this time next year. But it's just nice to kind of plan ahead and stock up, and we'll keep it in the shop because we've got that rack and we can just unload the rack with the skid steer, so that'll work out really nice for us. And we're kind of low on everything at the farm right now, so we've only got what's in the baler and what's in the tanks and stuff. So yeah, we're gonna have to get some more of that soon. But anywho, let's go ahead and get this field knocked out, or at least most of it finished up, and then I will meet back up with you all whenever we are about to head to the next field. And we should be wrapping up tillage today before the rain. I'm just trying to rush because there's still a chance of rain tomorrow. It's supposed to rain all day, and then November 3rd is going to be bitter cold already, and then December is when the snow kicks in. So yeah, we're going to wrap this field up, and then I will meet back up with you all as soon as we're about to head to the next one. And well, alrighty, we are slowly winding down in the afternoon here. We are finishing up all the tillage. We just moved over fields. Well, we didn't just move over, we've been in here for a little while, but we're on the second field cultivating now. We got the other one all finished, and now this one's about to be done, and they both look very nice. This cultivator, it might be small, but it does a really great job. It just takes a while. So, but year one is starting to come to an end here. We've just got 2 more months, and it's going to be a new year already. We've really flown through these last couple of months, and as soon as we get tillage done, we don't really have that much going on for the rest of the year. I mean, we've got to sell our grain, which is going to bring in a little cash, maybe buy some calves. But other than that, we don't really have much going on, and this is about it for year one. Unless some more stuff pops up in the used market that I like, then we're going to have some more stuff to talk about. But for right now, we're going to be taking it really slow. We're probably going to be clearing out a bunch of snow as well. So, and yeah, that's about how it's going to be. We're going to be feeding cows as well. We're going to have to just be feeding all month long, so that's something else. But at least we're not off the walls busy, so that's a good thing. But I do enjoy all this busy action stuff, like where we're having to jump from the cultivator to the plow and get it all done before the rain. because starting tomorrow it's just going to be really wet and cold. And yeah, I know it's like 70 something right now, but tomorrow's supposed to get all the way down to 50 for a high, and then it's going to be raining, and then the next day is going to be like 30 for a high. So yeah, it's going to get really cold, and the chances of snow are going to increase, and then it's supposed to snow all December, so that's just awesome. So that's how it's going to be on the farm for the next few weeks. But that's those two fields done. We'll head on down to the next one. But for right about now, I think that's all I've got for you guys. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next one.